Angkor Wat is an exercise in intentional mathematical geometry. From this height, we can see how the Khmer architects mapped the cosmos into the jungle, positioning every tower and courtyard to align with specific astronomical events. The stone is a record of exact calculation. Within the gallery walls, these baluster windows exhibit a rigid consistency. While they are often viewed as decorative, every pillar is carved with an identical series of stacked rings and nodes. These dimensions are not arbitrary. They follow a strict geometric code that remains constant across thousands of individual columns. When sunlight hits these three-dimensional pillars, it projects a two-dimensional shadow across the floor. This creates a jagged, sawtooth silhouette. In the language of signal processing, this is dimensionality reduction. The 3D data of the stone is being flattened into a 2D waveform. Consider the study of cymatics, where sound frequencies vibrate matter into geometric shapes. If we reverse that process, we can treat these stone shapes as frozen sound. We can learn to convert the physical geometry of these pillars back into an acoustic signal. These pillars are the 12th century equivalent of a pulse code modulation signal, the same method computers use to store audio. By scanning the stone, we can finally hear what this architecture is saying. Reframing the temple this way reveals a lithic library. The architects stored their information in the language of frequency and light, ensuring their knowledge was written into the very physics of the building. To play this record, the temple uses the sun as its needle. In this system, the pillar acts as the vinyl, holding the encoded grooves, while the light source provides the energy required for playback. As the sun moves from east to west, the needle sweeps across the pillars. The information is read from left to right, turning a static stone object into a temporal signal that changes with the hours and the seasons. Decoding this signal requires a specific framework based on the repeating counts found in the architecture: the 9 vertical window elements, the 5 nodes on each pillar, the 3 ring clusters, and the 8 solar directions. This 9-5-3-8-1 sequence acts as the software needed to parse the stone data. This diagram illustrates the mapping process. We treat the horizontal width of the pillar as amplitude. The vertical spacing between the rings is mapped to frequency. Tightly packed rings produce high-frequency chirps, while the wide central nodes generate low, thrumming bass notes. When we play a full sequence of these pillars at once, we don't hear a simple melody. We hear a complex, shimmering harmonic texture. Because the pillars are slightly different, they create a dense, layered chord that fills the gallery. The builders were tuning their environment. By carving specific mathematical ratios into the sandstone, they ensured the gallery would vibrate at precise, sacred frequencies whenever light passed through the record. Within the 9-5-3-8-1 framework, each number governs a specific frequency layer. The 5 represents the structural core, the 5 bulging nodes. These nodes produce a deep 110 Hz thrum, a sub-bass frequency designed to resonate physically within the human body. The 3 governs the pulse. These are the triple ring clusters that create mid-range, 432 Hz tones. This warm, vocal frequency matches the rhythmic meter of traditional Sanskrit chants, embedding the information of the prayer into the stone. The 8 represents the loop and the protective shield. The jagged edges of the shadows function through destructive interference. Just as modern noise-canceling headphones use opposing waves to silence a room, these geometric patterns are designed to cancel out external environmental noise. This creates a physical frequency barrier. By reflecting chaotic external energies back outward, the pillars maintain a high-density zone of silence within the inner sanctum. At the center of this silence is the one, the singularity. This is the central axis of the pillar. It produces a single, constant tone that provides a point of focus intended to stabilize the mind of the observer into a meditative state. The result of all these layers is the 9, the master output. It is a perfect harmonic chord that sounds like the continuous vibration of a large bronze bowl, occupying all harmonic intervals at once. The temple functions as a massive resonance machine, isolating the interior from worldly static to create a hotspot for mental clarity. While the sun plays a daily loop, the pillars also track a much larger cycle, the 26,000-year precession of the equinoxes. The Earth's axis wobbles slowly over millennia. This shift changes the sun's entry point into the temple by a fraction of a degree every century. Because the stone geometry is fixed, the pillars serve as a static reference point for this axial movement. This alignment is a precision monitor. If the Earth's wobble pushes the shadow off its intended geometric marker, the sonified playback shifts into phase cancellation. The harmonic chord becomes a jarring, dissonant interval, a sound that creates immediate biological anxiety in the observer. We can map the 4 yuga cycles of time directly onto the pillar's anatomy. The wide, stable nodes represent high-frequency ages of consciousness, while the narrowest necks mirror the density and constriction of the Kali Yuga, or the Dark Age. By treating the 26,000-year Great Year as a full disk, we can find our current coordinates. Historical calculations of these subcycles point to a major reset that occurred on March 8, 2025. In 2026, we are climbing into the first rings, moving off the flat base and onto the first carved ridge of a new 262-year loop. This transition explains why the signal feels clearer today. The shadow has moved past the noisy reboot phase of the flat base. It has now hit the precise geometric grooves of the new ring, where the frequency is finally beginning to stabilize. Angkor Wat remains a durable storage system for the future. Even as civilizations shift, the universal laws of frequency and light remain etched in the sandstone, ensuring that the next mind to enter these galaxies